Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So it's time for those 1-minute book recs that you guys all love so much. So this is where we go over all the books that we've read in the last week with 1-minute synopsises for each book. But before that happens,
make sure you hit that subscribe button because we give away free books on our channel. So you just always want to be subscribed. So you're always up for whatever free books we happen to be giving away. Right now we have the Calorie books.
Okay. So I didn't see you this week. I was camping without service. So
for those of you new to our channel, Jessica, when she says she goes camping, she means that everybody else camps and she lays in a hammock and reads. That is what she means by camping. She is not hiking. She is not out enjoying nature. Like I went camping last year and I had no time to read because I was exploring a national park. But so Jessica's version of camping is extremely different.
I mean, come on, can you guys blame me? Who wouldn't want to lay in a hammock outside in the wilderness and read?
For 5 days straight.
For 5 days straight. I do go kayaking though. I will go on a little kayaking thing with my husband if the weather is permitting. It was raining. I can't read while I'm kayaking because that requires me to actually focus so that I don't tip the kayak over.
Can you paddle faster, honey?
No, because he's in his own kayak. We're not in a 2-person, we're in a 1-person, but and that,
so you're okay.
Yeah, I'm in my own kayak. So I control my own boat. So, and there's always that possibility. If I dropped my Kindle or my phone into the lake, that would not be good. I don't know what I would do. There's no cell reception up there where we're at all. So we'd be in trouble. I'd be like, we're driving the hour into town so we can go to Best Buy so I can get a Kindle.
It's horrible. I hate when you do that.
Yeah, I know.
Shut me out for a week.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but you continue to do it.
Because we love it. I love it.
Sorries mean nothing.
All right. So tell me about your reading week.
Well, I did not lay in a hammock for 5 days straight and read. I went and drove almost 4 hours every day to go watch my son play basketball. Yeah. And by 4 hours, I drove 2 hours there and 2 hours back. And yes, I really should have just gotten a hotel.
Hindsight.
So,
yeah, I know.
What a good mom I am.
You're a great mom. You sent me a picture of you driving through our hometown. So I knew exactly where you were by that picture. It's very small town, guys. Very small town.
Yeah.
Okay,
I do that every time I drive through there.
I know you do. I know. I always love it. I'm like, honk really loud and the family will hear you when you drive past the roads. Okay. So so
I never said I only read 5 books.
You read 5 books. Okay. Did you have any 5 stars?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. I did lay in a hammock, but it did rain. So I only laid in a hammock for a day and a half. Then
rigor mortis set in and you're still alive.
Then I read under the awning in my reclinable chair or by the campfire in my chair. So, I mean, but it was just the husband and I because it was our anniversary. And so we left. Well, we had one kid in Germany.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
I should have sent you a book. Darn it.
Okay. It's over now. It's over. We got 19 years. You got an anniversary coming up in July, though.
I do.
Yours is the same day as mine.
You better send me some books.
Wait, will we be together? Is that when one of our trips happens?
We will be together the day before.
The day before.
Because I was like, oh, do we want to stay one more day? And you were like, well, that's your anniversary. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Guess it is.
Answers that question. We don't want to stay one more day.
So I read 11 books. One of them, though, you and I both read. So you're going to talk about that one. So I'm going to go with 10. All right. You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Wake me up when it's over.
Okay. So the first book that I read is Fable of Happiness. This is by Pepper Winters. If you guys have watched any of our videos from last year, you know that Pepper Winters was one of her books was my top book of the year. It was Unseen Messages from last year. This is not Unseen Messages. This is a Captive. This is kind of like a Beauty and the Beast. It's like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's about Gemma and Kaysen. Gemma is like this, she's a hiker, she's a rock climber, she's made a name for herself doing that with her social media, and she goes to this unknown place to hike when she finds out about it. She ends up finding this remote, it's like a castle in the middle of the wilderness, and she stumbles into it, kind of like Belle and Beauty and the Beast, and there's a beast there, and that's Clausen, and he decides he's just going to keep her. You would think that this would work for me. This did not work. I didn't even care. I was so bored, and I love Pepper Winters. So I gave it 3 stars. I mean, I think for some, it's going to work. If you're not as crazy about the captive thing as I am, sure. I thought Gemma was an idiot, and she did a lot of stupid stuff. So it kind of drove me insane, but it was still enjoyable. You know, it wasn't horrible. There was nothing wrong with it. Pepper Winters can write a book. Just didn't work for me. So it was 3 stars. Please tell me your first book is better than that.
Well, my first book is The Centaur in My Dreams by L.B. Lane.
Okay.
Yeah. So The Centaur of My Dreams is or in my dreams, excuse me, is about Rebecca, who recently presented, I guess we could say, as an Omega. And now she's not really super thrilled about this because this means she has to marry an alpha, and she really doesn't want to. And a particular alpha comes by to court her, perhaps, feel the situation out. I don't know. And she's like, okay, well, maybe this won't be so bad. And she really misses her sister, who's like off and about. And she's stuck with this sister who is just not a nice person. And her sister's husband is a creepy man who like thinks that all women want him. And if they don't, he thinks that they do anyways, and like will force that situation, which makes his wife become extremely jealous of everyone around. And this leads, some things happen, and this leads Rebecca being shoved over into another realm. My time's up. And here she gets taken in by a Centaur clan that isn't super great. And this is where she meets a Grimm, who's going to eventually be our hero. Takes a while to get there, though. And we solve all, like, if somebody is not feeling well, they just need an orgasm, and then the centaurs are back together, like back on point.
You could go to war and have your guts falling out.
Yeah. It's different. And then the females consume semen to have the same healing powers. So I don't know. So this was our vlog. It will be out later this week, and you can see what we thought about it. You can read along with us. That's how we did it, in a style where we go certain chapters. So you can read with us and really get a feel for a very different trope.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantasy. It was L.B. Lane, because I think you forgot to say who the author was, who we did an interview with her not too long ago.
Pretty sure I said that when we started. I thought I did.
I didn't hear it, but I could have missed it. It's okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I can be wrong. But so we thought this would be a fun one because it's definitely outside of both of our wheelhouses. I mean, it's fantasy, but it was a centaur. So, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So go watch that when that comes out.
Yeah, do that.
All right. So speaking of fantasy, picked up, like, I swallowed the TikTok pill, and I trusted something. I've been following this author for a while. Her books look good. I was like, oh my gosh, I saw this one. I was like, let me try it. Okay. I really have not learned my lesson. So this is Song of Death by C.A. Varian. This is a mermaid story. And okay.
I was starting to wonder if you were ever going to switch over to
I just don't even know what to say. So this is about Azure, who she has a 7-year-old sister. She's 18. They're doing something by the shore. I don't know if there were, it's not very well defined what she was doing by the shore. Somehow her sister falls in, and drowns. She pulls her sister out of the water. She says she'll sacrifice anything to get her sister back because it's just the two of them. Lo and behold, some goddess shows up and is like, well, you can change places with her. So she does. Well, when she changes places with her, then she's now a mermaid, and she has to take so many lives of sailors in order to be able to go on living her human life. And so one day there is a storm. She hates doing this. She realizes her sister, like 3 years later, her sister's gonna grow up and she's never gonna be a part of her life because it's gonna take so long to get these souls. Anyhow, there's a ship that's crashing. There's a guy that goes into the water. She pulls him out because there's just something about him, and we go on from there. It sounded good. It looked good. The book, she's got some special editions of these books that are absolutely gorgeous. It read like a YA novel, and it just, no. Again, I was bored. I gave it 2 stars. So I really did not like it. I did not like it at all. But somebody who likes fantasy might. I don't know. I didn't like it.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you've told us you didn't like it enough, so I think.
Did I tell you I didn't like it?
I think we're safe to move on.
Okay,
I
good.
hope. Okay. So my next book is called Time for Us by L.M. Halloran. And if you've already watched our June wrap-up, you know that this was on there.
You loved it.
I did.
Yep.
So we have Celeste, Lucas, and Jeremy, who, why does my thing keep moving on me? Okay. We have Celeste, Lucas, and Jeremy, who have been childhood best friends. And when they're in high school, Celeste and Jeremy end up dating, and Lucas kind of, a third wheel situation maybe kind of starts to happen a little bit. So Celeste and Jeremy end up getting married, and when I believe she was 21 and she's pregnant, and Jeremy is in the army and he goes off to war. And unfortunately, he does not, there's an incident and he ends up being killed in war. And Celeste is obviously devastated. She's pregnant. And instead of Lucas sticking around and being there for her, and, they were best friends, he takes off and she does not see him again until her son is 12 years old. And he comes back to town and he's purchased a camp, like a lake. What am I trying to say? Like
summer camp kind of thing?
Yeah, like a summer camp. Thank you. He purchases that, and his intent is to tear it down and do something different, but maybe he'll have a change of heart, maybe not. And him and Celeste are just kind of forced back into each other's orbits, and Lucas is there to kind of right some wrongs that should have been righted like 12 years ago. So, Is this time for them? I loved it. Solid 5 stars.
Okay. You've been reading a lot of L.M. Halloran's books lately.
I love her.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. I love that you found a new author that you love. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I didn't know that needed my stamp of approval, but you're welcome.
I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. Okay. So the next book I read is Unbreakable by Crystal Daniels and Sandy Alvarez. This is that MC series. I jumped back to book 4, so that's what this one is. So this one is about Grace and Jake. So they've been teased for the first 3.5 books in the series. Grace is the local baker in town. Jake's had a thing for her. Jake is the president of the MC, so he's a little bit older than all the other guys. And so we know something behind the scenes. We've seen it. There's something going on between these two. Well, now we finally get their book, and Grace has left town. She's on the lam. She's ran off, and Jake goes to try and find her. And what we find out is that she is in a witness protection program because of an ex-husband situation, and she's been found out, and so she's had to go run again, and Jake goes and gets her and brings her back and whatever. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't not like it, but it didn't have anything in it. Like, it didn't have enough to make it memorable. So I listened to all this cooking, dinner, and cleaning, and that was great. And then, so it's not that I will still continue the series because I like them, but it was okay. It was 3.
Okay.
It's a placeholder.
Okay. My next one is an elk.
Oh, elk. Advanced listener copy. I was like, an
Yes.
elk?
I don't like the way that sounds.
I don't like it either. I
It's
was
an
thinking like
ALC. Maybe that's better.
ALC. I was thinking like elk as in the animal.
Elk, not
Yeah, I was
elk.
like, is this a shifter romance or something? I didn't.
Oh, get your mind out of the gutter.
Okay, sorry.
So I listened to Over the Limit by Kay Bromberg. And once again, my timer is missing. I don't know what's wrong with me today.
It's late.
Okay, so we have Blair, who is dating Rossi. And he is a Formula One racer, and they end up, their relationship is kind of just, I hate this term, but it's basically run its course. And she seems to be the only one still invested in making it work. So they end up breaking up, and Blair gets a promotion within the team. And her and Lachlan are kind of starting to have like a little bit of a thing, but they need to keep it, their relationship has to be a complete secret because Lachlan and Rossi are teammates, so that just muddies it. But also Blair gets this promotion with the team, which she can't then be seen with Lachlan, basically, in that sense. So they have to keep this relationship on the down low. This is Formula One racing. I did not realize what I have been missing out by not reading this trope. Like, racing is really, I mean, my family races, so I don't understand why I haven't read this stuff yet, but it was really good. I had no idea what I was missing out on by not. So it is narrated by Gary Furlong and Stella Hunter, and they do a fantastic job in the narration. I really enjoyed it. Lachlan is Australian, and the accent is, I mean, everything goes together really well in the narration there. So highly recommend this. The story, solid 4 stars. Narration, solid 5 stars. Sometimes when the character has an accent, it can make it harder to listen to.
Yeah.
Not the case here.
Okay, good. That's good to know. All right. So my next book is a Samantha Christie book. This is the one. So we talked about Quiet, Beautiful Things.
Did you pick this one because you were having such sucky reads?
Yeah, I can trust that I like Samantha Christie. Plus, you and I talked about it, about because in Quiet, Beautiful Things, it has the heroine who's deaf, and we found out that her parents had a book, and I was like, I really want to go read this. So let's read it. So
okay.
This book is called Stone Vows. This is the third book in the Stone Brothers series, but I read it as a standalone. You can read them as standalones. So this is about Elizabeth and Dr. Kyle. So Kyle is a second-year resident, and he's at the hospital doing what residents do, and he's working the ER, and he walks out, and there is a pregnant woman sitting on a bench outside of the ER, and he's like, do you need help? And she's like, I can't afford it. Something's wrong, but I can't afford it. And he's like, just come in and let's figure this out. So he forms an attachment with her that he probably shouldn't as a doctor, just from those first that time in the emergency room with her. And he gives her his phone number and says, if you need anything, if something happens with the baby, because he can tell something's not right, call me. And so 2 weeks later, he's now doing his OB stint as a resident, and he gets a call from the same girl who's Elizabeth, and she's like, I'm bleeding, something's really wrong. And so he meets her at the hospital. She has placenta previa. She's put on bed rest. He knows that something isn't right because she won't give her address, so he puts his address down instead of what her address is. Like, she's being very, like, there's something not right. She's not giving all the information, and she becomes his only patient because the person that he's under has it out for him, and it's like, this is your only patient. So they form an attachment. And so this is their story. Like, why isn't she giving away? Like, why isn't she telling him what's going on? There's a lot of mystery here. There's a lot that goes on in this book. I really enjoyed it. Love Samantha Christie. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was kind of nice to actually enjoy something this week. It was the first one I really enjoyed. So it's great. Ouch. Yeah, I know. I mean, other than our Centaur book, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I've just been sticking to what I know, Jessica. So I went and I started the Beautiful Hearts duet. So I read the first book. I've not finished the second book. So I guess you'll get to hear about this duet next time too. Which this is probably a good time to mention that we are going to have a schedule change due to the 4th of July holiday and vacations.
Yeah.
Going to Disneyland. Very excited. So we will put something out official that kind of lets you know what that's going to look like for those of you who regularly tune in. We will still have videos like normal. Our schedule will just be slightly different.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So my first book is my first book. Book number 4 is Bring Down the Stars by Emma Scott. This is about Autumn, Connor, and Weston. And this was on my TBR, and I'm trying a love triangle, but I'm trusting Emma Scott when she says this is not your typical love triangle. So Connor and Weston meet in middle school, and they have become best friends. Connor's family is very wealthy. Weston's family is very poor, and he ends up getting to go to this private school because he writes this really impressive essay and it gets him in. And Connor goes to school there and he sees Weston being picked on and stands up for him, and this just like cements their friendship. And so Weston feels kind of an obligation to Connor, which plays in because when they go off to college together, they meet Autumn. And Weston really, Jessica, my hair is sticking on me, didn't say anything. Weston really kind of likes Autumn, but he also knows Connor does. So he does the whole like step aside thing. And so the three of them get to be pretty close. And the boys then are sent off to war.
Okay, so are you rating that one? Are you waiting until
I have not rated it yet because I feel like when you read a duet, it's hard to rate it until you finish because it feels like this is part 1 and then the next is like part 2, you know?
Right, exactly.
So far, it's off to a really good start and I'm continuing.
Okay, I actually have that duet on my Kindle. Had it for a while. Oh. Okay. So I went and grabbed a book from my dark romance and taboo romance reader group because this is supposed to be taboo and dark, and it's one that is talked about all the time. So this is called Chasing Moon, and it is by wrong one. And it is by H.J. Stollard. Oh my gosh, guys, this book started out strong. So this is about Evelyn or Evie and Maximus, or he goes by Max. So you got Max and Evie, and they're brother and sister, and they're estranged. She still lives with her mom and her dad, and he is a part of the Mafia now. I think they're half siblings because he has a different dad than she does. And so circumstances happen in the beginning that force her back into his orbit, and so he kidnaps her. He takes her and he's like, you're mine now. Kidnaps her, ties her to a bed, and for like a month tries to get her pregnant. Has a doctor come in, remove the IUD, give her a fertility shot. She lays on this bed, honestly, for 3 months. And my whole time I'm thinking, how does she go to the bathroom? When does she go to the bathroom? They mentioned that the maid coming and changing the sheets. Eventually, she mentions there's a bedpan situation. I'm sitting here going, UTI? UTI much? Like, I am really concerned for this girl who's been strapped to a bed. Plus, like, the muscles and it was just so unbelievable. The dirty talk was horrible. I actually made the mistake of saying one of the lines to my husband as a joke, and he would repeat it to me all weekend long. And I'm still regretting telling him what was in this book. It had the potential to be a good book, but there was things. This is like what not to do when you're pregnant, because he chases her down in the woods and tackles her onto her belly when she's like 3-4 months long. She's drinking when she's pregnant. Just, I still gave it 3 stars because I still enjoyed parts of it, but I just was really worried for this girl because it's just not normal. It's just not good.
What you read is normal.
No, but that's the fun. I'm not sure why it's so popular. Maybe because people just don't read as much as we do, and so I don't know. But this was just there were a lot of things wrong with this book. Still enjoyed parts, but there were a lot of things wrong with it.
Well, while you may have read more, I feel like I was way more successful this week.
I think you were. Yeah, exactly.
So
Okay.
my next book is an ARC, but this book, when this video comes out, is out. So you can go grab it right now. Make sure you do it because this book is going to be in my top books of 2024. It is amazing. And that is Whispers of Us by Karen Crompton.
Yes.
So we have already met Quinn in the first two books in the Cold Neptune series. He is the guitarist. He is very quiet. He doesn't get into trouble like Kale. And so he's also Reed's best friend. So if you've read the first book, you know a little bit of his backstory of what happened to them when they were kids. So we also have Cassie. That's going to be his love interest. And Cassie, we've seen her as well. She waitresses at a bar that they tend to hang out. She is also their band manager's Nick's almost sister-in-law, making her very off limits and making any sort of relationship with her extremely forbidden. So this book starts off with Cassie finding out she is pregnant with Quinn's baby. And from there, we start to hear about their story and how all of this came to be. I sobbed within the first few pages of this book. Very, very emotional. I laughed hysterically while reading to myself, like reading by myself, sitting by myself, like at a coffee shop. I was reading the book and it was so funny. I literally was like smiling and laughing out loud. I looked probably unhinged sitting there.
It's okay.
Hopefully people had seen a Kindle before and, put two and two together. My book must be really funny, but
yeah.
Oh my gosh, this book, heartbreaking tale of love. Absolutely love this book. I'm not usually a huge surprise baby fan. It's just not really a trope I seek out. So when I knew that this was what this was going to be, I was like, oh, I hope Karen can really pull this one off. I don't want to not like one of her books. And it was so incredibly different. I absolutely loved it. I'm going to say this is my favorite in this series, definitely, which I know I said that about Kale as well. But this one is definitely my favorite. And it's probably now my favorite Karen Crompton book. Absolutely loved it.
Okay.
And in a week, I'm going to start asking about Jackson's book.
You told Karen you wouldn't for a week. So
I told her I would wait 1 week.
You give her one whole week.
So go grab this book. Read it. It is phenomenal. I highly, highly recommend, though, that you start with book one. So it will make things, it's very interconnected and everything will flow much better. So go start with Lyrics of Her if you've not read this series. It is totally binge worthy.
Okay. So I know you've watched a lot of Dateline recently.
I love Dateline.
I know. And I feel like this book that I'm going to talk about next is like up the Dateline. It's up your alley. It's up that alley. So
Sweet.
This is a new author. She even refers to herself as a baby author. I think this is her first book. So this is Hunt Me, Darling. It's by Marie Rose. So this is about an FBI agent who is Alex Darling. And she is investigating this series, the serial killer who they know it is two people. Like they know that there's two guys that do these killings. And so she is an FBI profiler. She has been brought in on the case and she's working closely with certain people. And they're trying to track down these killers. Now, when the book first started, I was like, I know who the killers are. The minute they tell you it's two people, I'm like, I know who they are. And then as the book goes on, every time the author introduces a new person into the book, into the scene, they come in twos. So you're constantly questioning whether you're getting it right or not, because she's constantly introducing two new guys. So you're like, wait, I thought I was right. Am I right? So anyhow, she starts, so there's these two guys, they actually stalk their victims. And after she's brought in on the case a day or two later, she starts getting stalked by these guys, and they start messaging her. They refer to themselves as truth or dare, and they're always wanting to play a game of truth and dare with her. So I listened to this. I gave it like 3.5 stars. There were a few parts that dragged, but for a new author, this was great. Like, I would have never known she was a new author. And it could have been my mood that gave it the 3.5 stars, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it quite a bit. So, I mean, I'd go check it out, especially if you're a Dateline junkie.
Love
but the fact, I mean, I was
2020.
right. Yeah. I was right when we got to it. I did pick the killers out. I kind of was hoping that she would have made it where I couldn't have done that, and maybe that's just because Dateline junkies can always pick the killers out. I was correct on who the killers were, but she did have me questioning it a few different times. So, Okay. Ready for my next one?
Yep.
Because this is my show now.
Yes. Welcome to the Jessica 1 Minute Book Rec Show.
All right.
I'm here just to run the timer.
Perfect. All right. Okay, so next I love Devney Perry. I picked up a Devney Perry book. I can always count on those to be 4 stars minimum. So I read The Outpost by Devney Perry, and the reason why I chose this one is because I saw somewhere, like, I saw a graphic for it and it had like a fire jumper, and I love books with really good fire jumper, like those kinds of books, but they're hard to find. So this is about Sabrina and Beau. This is a part of the Jameson Valley series. You can read it as a standalone because I did. But this is about Sabrina. She is a journalist for like the Seattle Times, and she uncovered this big mafia ring, or this thing that's gotten her in some hot water. And her boyfriend, who was a part of the mafia that she was just seeing so that she could get that inside scoop, beats her up. So she goes to Montana, to where her best friend lives, and she's on the run from this mafia group. And her best friend has connections, and that's where we meet Beau. He works for the Forest Service, and he used to be this fire jumper. And so he takes her to an outpost out in the wilderness of Montana to keep her safe while they're trying to figure out what to do and figure out if she needs to go into witness protection or what needs to happen. And then while she's there, obviously it's close proximity. So, I gave this 4 stars. It was Devney Perry. It was enjoyable.
Thank you. Next. That's from that song. Thank you. Next.
What song?
Ariana Grande?
I think you might be right. I have to go ask a teenager.
No,
okay.
I am right.
You are right? Okay. Cool. Go away. Okay.
Well, that was hurtful.
No,
Fine.
not you, the thumb. Okay, no, not you. Please tell me you're still there.
Your time is a ticking, woman.
Oh, okay. So my next book that I had is a mafia romance. It's called Sinister Vows. It's by A.M. McCoy. This is about Ariana and Nico. So Ariana, or Ari, is forced into a marriage by her dad to marry this guy. She was betrothed to him when she was 12. She is now like 20, and she's being forced to go through with it. Her parents are horrible. Her dad abuses her, threatens her with harming her siblings, and her mom keeps her drugged. She gives her a tonic throughout the day that keeps her complicit. And their family has this rite of passage. Before you get married, they have the night before. They call it, it's a blessing by the priest. What the priest does is come in and see if they're a virgin, and then if they are, he breaks the hymen with one thrust. So,
wait,
forced, yeah, like they're not supposed to actually have full-on sex, but he breaks the hymen, especially supposed to walk out and whatever. So he takes her virginity. And so when this book starts out, it is the night before her wedding, and she is at this place. She's never met her fiance. He hasn't shown up, and this priest comes in, does that, but the priest decides that he's going to take a little further because this is a young hot priest, and then she doesn't meet her husband until she's at the altar the next morning. Still thinking about that priest. So I really liked this one. I gave it 4.5 stars. So, forced mafia marriage. There's so much more to the book than that. Like, so much more to it. But I loved it. Okay, my next book is an arc. I'm almost done, I promise. Is this it? I've got 2 more. That's it. Okay, so both these last 2 books are by LV Lane. This one is an arc. It will be out on July 11th. It is the 22nd book in her Coveted Prey series, but they can be read as standalones. So this is The Wolf in My Tavern, and it is about Ada. She is, she's just barely making it. She lives with her dad, and he's abusive and he's mean, and he's gambling things away. He's working on this, like, in this, like, slave market where they can, you know, you steal women and sell them or whatever they do with them. And one day he takes her to the slave market and he sells her to the slave market so that he can have money for alcohol, I guess. He's a horrible, horrible guy. And when she's taken down into the pits and thrown into the pits, she's thrown in with this other girl who's like, I promise my dad is on his way to save me. And we're going to get out of this. And so that's where we meet one of our heroes. This is an MFM, so that we meet Callum. He is the blacksmith's son, and he breaks in and rescues her. And they have this attraction. She goes to work at the tavern with this girl and her dad. And so we see their relationship develop along, like, once they've started to develop a relationship, there's a shifter that comes in, and she has an attraction to this shifter as well. He's a wolf shifter, and it is their story. I know I'm probably not doing it justice, but oh my God, I loved this book so much. It too was 4.5 stars. Like, it was so good. I couldn't put it down once I started it. Loved it so much. So it's fantasy. It's got some Omegaverse in there. It's got braiding, definitely has braiding. So, and there's so much more to it than that, but love the banter. It was awesome. All right, ready for my last one?
Yes.
All right, so this one is also an LV Lane book. This is one of her shorts in her Coveted Prey series. This is number 14 in the Coveted Prey series. So this is Tempting the Orc. It's like 80 pages long. It was just a fun little quick read. It's about Luna and Ostrich. Luna is a wolf shifter. Ostrich is half orc, and he is Luna's brother's best friend. So she has been in love with him forever, and he knows that she's off limits, so he doesn't even go there. And then one day he has to go to the village where she's living with her mom and relay a message for the king, and things happen, and it is a smutty good time because it's an orc and there's a lot of fluids. So he doesn't want to claim her, but her mom comes in and is like, hey, she's in love with you. So that's pretty much all it is. It was just an excuse for some good smut. And I gave that one 4 stars. So there you have it. Jessica show's over. Done.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right.
Okay. So people, make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us, and hit that notification button. We have some really great things coming your way, like the Centaur vlog and an author interview with the one and only Queen of Taboo, Kay Webster. You are not going to want to miss that. So make sure you hit that notification button.
Yep.
And hey, comment. How was your reading week? Did you get some reading in? Did you go camping? Did you get rigor mortis from reading too much?
I don't have rigor mortis yet. All right, guys. When they go to bury me, they'll be like, Mandy, we can't get her arms out of this position. Put her in the casket. Anyhow. All right, guys. On that happy note, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.